Hello and welcome as we continue on with season 4 of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. As always, I'm your host, Kelby Bachman, and please welcome the next guest on the show, Hunter Garvin. So, Hunter is from Iowa City, Iowa, and was an Iowa City West Trojan. He was a 4-time state finalist and 3-time state champion. Hunter took his talents to Palo Alto, California to attend Stanford University. He's since taken it up a notch as he's now a 2-time All-American for the Cardinal at 165 pounds. He's also won a couple gold medals at the Pan Ams, one in freestyle in 2024 and one in Greco this past April. He also collected bronze this past April as well. The future is bright for this guy, both in wrestling and in life. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy Hunter Garvin. In the heart of West Union, Iowa, lies a hidden gem in Euphoria Coffee. Owned by local residents Nicole and Shane Havenstreit, they source everything they can from local vendors. From hot and iced drinks, to savory breakfast burritos, to baked goods, to botany tea, and even homemade waffles, Euphoria Coffee is a place your entire family can enjoy. You can find more information at drinkeuphoria.com or visit their Facebook page. And we also have a special gift just for you. Next time you stop in, you can get a free baked good with a $20 purchase. Just mention the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. Euphoria Coffee. Our purpose is deeper than coffee.
It's beautiful right now. Like this, we haven't had a day like this in a while.
Really?
Yeah, no, this is or it's where it's really nice like at 6 o'clock. Like usually it's starting to get chilly, but this week as like our first week of consistency. Because yesterday was awesome and today it was just as good.
Okay. But during the winter, like, has that been nice during like wrestling season? It's just been so, or has it been cold during the winter? I don't know.
No, it is freezing during the winter. It's so crappy and like it's rainy. It's not as bad, but like when you get told or like when you expect it to be like sunny and 75 every day, and then you get out here and it's like cold and crappy and rainy. It's like, or like I mean, honestly, our days aren't that bad, but like we can get up to 50, 60 sometimes. We're really lucky, and the sun's shining. But usually it's in the winter it's just kind of cold. Nothing close to Midwestern cold, California cold, and just like cloudy. Like whenever it's a cloudy day, usually it's cold out.
Yeah. Dang. How much did you factor that in when, like, did you want to get out of Iowa and like go somewhere nice and warm, or did it just sort of happen this way that you landed out west?
It honestly just happened this way. Like I had honestly grown up my whole life wanting to be a Hawkeye. I went to school at Iowa City West, which was on Iowa's campus. And, I grew up a Hawkeye fan my whole life, and I didn't know anything else but that. And so when I think my sophomore summer when we're allowed to get recruited, one of the first guys that hit me was Rob Cole. And then that's kind of my first taste of ever being like, oh, there's more than just the state of Iowa. Because, I really liked what he had to say about myself. And, like, we had to, at the time, what he had to offer at Cornell regarding, like, facilities and, just the vibe he preached. And then when he left, went to Stanford, and then recruited me or, like, talked to me again. And I was like, I honestly did not want to go to a visit because I was like, all right, whatever. Like, am I really gonna go to Stanford? Like, what's the point? And Enoch, who was the coach at the time, was hamming me. He was like, hey man, you should come to a visit. You should come to a visit. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then I was like, you know what? I'll just take the visit just because I think at the time 5 free ones. I mean, I'll just take it so I can get a free little vacation to California. And so my mom and I got tickets, or we got our tickets. I went out to visit Stanford, and like right away, I was like, for some reason, I remember telling my mom in the San Francisco airport, I was like, I got a weird feeling about this. And then we went on our visit, and like it brought my mom to tears. When we went back, and I was in the hotel, and we were staying in the hotel. She's like, "Man, if this is the place you got to be, like, I support that and love that." And I absolutely fell in love with this place. I mean, it was. I met some of my potential teammates, or my future teammates. I was on the visit by myself, which is funny. With like no other of my teammates were here, it's just me, and I got to hang out with the coaches, and it was awesome. It was so weird because it was during COVID, so
Right.
or kind of in that area, so no one was here, nothing was going on. We couldn't really see much, but I don't know. I just fell in love with the place, and then now the Ayers and company are here. I mean, I still love it, and I think this place has grown significantly, and I don't know. I'm in love with. I've been in love with being here.
Yeah, as I'm trying to just put myself in your shoes in terms of, okay, you grew up a Hawkeye fan your whole life. Like if I am a fan of a school, like, okay, I'm a Viking fan, I guess, or I'm an Iowa fan too. I'm a Hawkeye
Yeah, I'm a
fan.
Vikings fan, baby.
Oh,
Skull,
right on. Yeah, right. Skull.
Skull
Yeah. So
Vikes.
like I'm sitting here trying to envision, you know, going to a different school that I rooted for, or with like the Vikings, like, all right, you're drafted by a different team, and now all of a sudden I mean, was it hard or difficult to become a fan of a different school that even though you grew up rooting for? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just find that
Yeah,
interesting.
that is tough. I mean, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine playing for the Bears or the Packers. I mean,
Right.
I couldn't imagine that. But
But if you're drafted,
honestly,
like, you know,
in all honesty, it wasn't like so. I was I was like a I love the Hawkeye wrestling, and then you know in with all respect, I just kind of fell out of love with it once I got into high school. Um, I just wasn't a fan, as big of a fan. Like with these new opportunities, I like kind of learned that like okay, I gotta broaden my horizons.
you know,
I gotta like see what other schools have to offer. Or I don't know, I gotta just explore. I gotta explore. And
yeah.
so then once I came here, I mean, it was a place where like if I'm gonna go to school here, like, dude, I'll be Stanford all the way. I mean, just like from my high school, I was Iowa City West. I was a Trojan all day. I it's like I at the time I bled green and gold, and even today as a technical high school alumni, I mean, I still will. And that's like that pride that I carry here, or that I have here with Stanford. I mean, like like putting the red S, or wearing the red S on my chest is one of the coolest experiences that I don't know, one of the coolest things I have experienced here, because like it's so special to me. And like just kind of like transitioning, or just full going all in with this place has been
Mhm.
so special to me, because I mean, not everyone can do it. I mean, not everyone can come here. I mean, you have to. It's more than just you have to be okay or decent at wrestling. You have to have grades. You have to have wrestling. You have to have grades. You have to have. I mean, you have to have the coaches that like you. I mean, there's a lot
Mhm.
more. There's a lot more boxes you got to check than in any other school, I'd say. And that's what made this place so special, and that's what makes the people around me that are here so special, along with the coaches. And so, I mean, once I committed, I mean, it was funny because all the other college apparel that I had, I just threw it away, or I just like gave it to somebody else, or um whoever, and I just I'm full. I went full tree mode, full Stanford, and that's
Mhm.
that's that's what I've been since.
Yeah, I'm trying to, even just go through and think of people who have gone out of the box, if you will. I feel like Brett Bombach was one that reminds me that went to Stanford, and he was from Iowa. But
Yes, yeah,
gosh,
yeah,
I
he is.
mean, he is okay.
He
I,
that name sounds so familiar. I don't remember. I haven't met him in a while. I think I met him, but I haven't like I'm not really close with him at all.
yeah,
But he's another Iowan, one of the few that have gone to
right.
Stanford for wrestling.
One of the few. I mean, when you when you kind of started talking about like, hey, I might go to Stanford, were people like, Stanford, what? I mean, I can just imagine people being like, "Excuse me," you know?
So I didn't talk about it. I had no idea what Stanford was. I honestly didn't know what it was until I came and visited here, and they told me about it. So like at the time, I was taking a college class. I remember my senior year, I was taking anatomy, a college anatomy class, and I was gonna miss Friday, and that Friday was like a practical or like a lab, or I don't know, something that was worth a lot of points and was gonna be very consuming or time consuming and like a bunch of crap. So I was like, I went to the professor like, hey, so I'm not gonna be here Friday, and he's like, I was like, all right, why not? Like, what's your excuse? And I'm like, yeah, like, I'm like visiting. I'm going on a college visit to like, I'm going on a college visit, and he's like, oh, where are you going? I'm like, Stanford University. He's like, and he kind of like shocked, like he's like, whoa, like yeah, that's definitely an excuse. And I was like, okay, cool, like that's cool. I got away with that. That's sick. I'll have to make sure I go on visits every time on Fridays or something like that, or like on weeks where I have stuff. And so, and then it's funny because I went, or then because I didn't really talk about it much. It's just like I really kept that stuff to myself and my family. Um, and it once I committed there though, it was so funny. Like all the smart kids in my classes started asking me for answers. Like the next day, they were like, "Yo, Hunter, man, what'd you get for number 7 on the thing?" I'm like, dude, I haven't started. Like you act like I changed overnight just because I'm going to Stanford, bro. Like I'm asking you for help still. And it was just so funny. Like so, it was a huge like shocker because like uh the school Iowa City West prides itself on like its academic integrity and like its academic accomplishments as well. Like we produce a lot of like a lot of smart kids. A lot of kids go to good schools, but I'm the first like athlete in a while. Besides, we had a swimmer named Aurora who went the year before me, but besides us two, I mean, I don't know very many Iowa City West athletes that go to Stanford, and so everyone was pretty shocked, and everyone was also a lot of people were shocked too because I'm an Iowan leaving the state, but not
Yeah.
just leaving the state, like going to like a bordering state, but going to like as far west as you possibly can,
Right.
and a place like Stanford where at the time people would be like their program just got cut. Um, like what the heck's what's there for you? And so it's been a really cool story to be a part of. Like I'm sure a lot of people at the time are like, what is he doing going to Stanford? They're not really known for wrestling, but then I feel like we're kind of um, putting that label on ourselves here in Palo Alto that we are soon to be or becoming a threat in the wrestling world.
Yeah. Did that play a role? I mean, yeah, that was obviously as a wrestling fan, one of my first thoughts was like, wow, Hunter Garvin, Stanford. Didn't they just like almost cut their program? Like stuff was happening. Like, did you even know, or did that even play a role in going out there?
Um, yeah, actually, it really did because this is during the Cole era when he was here. But I
Right.
remember he was recruiting me, and his biggest selling point, and what really motivated me and made me excited, was that like we were the first generation of a new era with
Hmm.
because like there's not like I'm a junior right now. We don't have like a senior class. Like all the seniors that we have this year are 5th years, but we don't have like any like true like 4th year seniors. And so me, and like a guy like Daniel Cardenas are really are like the first are part and a part of like the first generation of
Hmm.
the first like the new generation of Stanford wrestling, and it's been super cool. We talked a lot about leadership, and like where we're gonna take this program, and it's been it's been it's been really well, and it's been a fun journey.
How cool is that? That's kind of cool. I didn't even think about that. That, basically when that happened and the program was going through turmoil, people left. And then the cupboard was kind of bare, and now in comes this new crop of talent, and that was you. That'd be kind of
Yeah,
cool.
and it was super humbling at first because like I don't know, you just don't expect what's gonna happen, and to be where I'm at today, I mean, I'm super grateful, and like I would have never expected to like have like I don't know, have the feelings I do for this university, and like the love, like a different type of love that I have for the sport.
Yeah. What's that? We mean a different
I
type of love.
like so I don't know. I feel like I'm not wrestling for myself here as much. Like I don't know. I've never really felt like I'm wrestling for myself. Like
Mhm.
I mean, above all, I want to glorify God and the gift that He's given me. You know, um, and wrestle for Him. But at the same time, I've been wrestling for like I would wrestle like with pride in my high school, and I feel like there's just and like for my club at big game, and there's just been a lot of love and a lot of new love for the sport of wrestling since getting in college, with like understanding like college wrestling's tough, man.
Mhm.
Holy smokes, I did not realize how hard it would be to like how hard like in different practices would be and like workouts, and then you got to throw in like academic life and like academic life at Stanford, and like this place. I don't know. I've fallen in love with wrestling, and like sometimes a love hate relationship,
Yeah.
but it's something that's definitely changed my life, and I've seen it is something that God has used in me. I feel like to grow me as a man, as a child of God, and like I feel like it's been an outlet for me to be able to share my faith and um, glorify Him through opportunities that I've been given with wrestling.
Yeah. I think you just did something recently with the FC, was it FCIA?
FC,
FCAA?
it's called FCAIA.
AIA, okay.
Or I just call it FCA. But I guess it's officially like Fellowship of Christian Athletes in Action.
Mhm.
Um, like, wait, what do you mean recently? Like today?
Well, maybe it was yesterday. I saw like it was on your Instagram story.
Oh, that. Yeah, I got to actually speak. Well, I did too. I got to speak today at a high school in Chowchilla, California. I think it's called
Hmm.
Chowchilla High. And yeah, I got to speak today, and I just kind of gave my testimony on how I came to Christ. Was able to meet a few of the wrestlers there, but holy smokes, I think this is the most. No, I got to speak tonight or today at Chowchilla High School in front of like, oh my gosh, this is the most people I've ever spoken in front of. It's like 300 or 400 high schoolers, and holy smokes, I did not know that until I got there. And there's like the bleachers are all out, and I was like, yo, what in the world is going on? And then I was like, all right, cool. And so yeah, I got to give my testimony on like how God is like kind of how God pulled me out of the gutter, and how I was saved, and just the impact that it's had on me and my family. And then yesterday I got to speak about that as well at FCA, which is what you saw in my story. And
Gotcha.
yeah, that it was actually beautiful because I got to speak, and then I didn't know it at the time, but then our head football coach, who's our interim football coach, Frank Wright, who's a phenomenal NFL player and has been a
Yeah.
really great coach. He's our interim coach here, and he spoke last night, and holy smokes, it was, you could hear a pen drop to how like locked in and focused, or like just like engaged everyone was with. No one said a peep. Like we were just listening to him talk, and just him talking about faith was just like so encouraging, and especially him being in a leadership role of like a head football coach at a power four university. I mean, it fired me up, and it got me and like all the athletes that were there super excited.
Yeah, I mean, he has probably one of the better stories, when you think about it. I mean, he was a part of those Bills teams that were really good,
Yeah.
and he had to come in off the bench and win a game, lead the biggest comeback, and in playoff history, all that stuff. So like,
Yeah,
man,
it was awesome.
talk about having to have faith, because you never know when your number's going to be called, and he probably thought he deserved to be a starter. There's a lot that goes into Frank Wright, but
Oh,
anyway,
absolutely.
so I could tell, or I could see why he would have a lot to say, and a good passion and a good speaker. So,
Yeah, for
um,
sure.
but for you, you said that God pulled you out of the gutter. I guess I'm curious what the gutter was for you.
Well, when I say gutter, I don't mean like I was like doing drugs or like something like that.
No,
But that's
but
the story for many. I mean, it was the story for my brother, definitely. But when I just say gutter, I just mean like from death to life, as in like I didn't really believe in. I mean, I thought you could have asked me like, "Hey, is God real?" I say, "Yeah." Like, did Jesus die for just Jesus died on the cross? I said, "Yeah," but like I wasn't really engaged. I wasn't really following the word or anything like
mhm.
that. And I was about in 5th grade, and then um, my brother actually went to jail, uh, and he got caught up in really bad stuff. He'd gotten kicked out of the house, or prior he had gotten kicked out of the house. He was, just ruined his body and his at the time his life with drugs, and he had a baby on the way. Just like a whole bunch of like just a basket full of all these things that are going on, and he got put in jail and got at the time like he got life. He was sentenced to life in prison basically, and just through that, and he had never known who God was really. He'd never followed Christ or anything like that. He never went to church, and he got that was like his low that was his lowest of low that he could be brought to. I mean, he was ready to kill him. He was ready to die. And then he met Christ in prison. A pastor who would go help, talk to the inmates and whatnot, introduced Jeremy, which is my brother's name, to the gospel, and introduced him to Jesus, and answer questions that he had and just talk through it with him. And his life was changed, and it was beautiful to see, but incredibly shocking for me because he was my mean brother growing up, is what I saw him as.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to go visit him when he got put behind bars, and I had been causing trouble at the time. I'm cussing, fighting, getting into fights at school, causing trouble, getting written up, giving like kind of not being the best child, the best friend, anything good. Not a whole lot. I mean, I'm only in 5th grade, but still, like that's where it can start.
Yep.
And so I'm at the jail, and because it's the jail at the time, before he got to prison, I'm there, and my mom are talking or whatever, and then I get brought into the conversation. He's like, "Hey man, like I heard you're like acting up." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." And he's like, "Yo, like this isn't like why you doing that, man? Like this isn't how God called you." And he starts like preaching to me, like telling me like Jesus died for you, man, for not for you like go screw up your life like I did, and just like you know not give any effort, just goof around or like I don't know, mess around, just be a jerk. Like God calls you to love each other, and like Jesus is for you and He loves you, and like all these different things. Like He just preached to me, and I like got wild. I'm like thinking in my head like who? At first I'm like, who are you to tell me like you're
Yeah.
behind bars, man? But like I'm like, oh my goodness, like God, you are real. Like okay, like I'm in. Like I can't not be in. Like that was the first time I ever felt, like that was my radical encounter with Jesus. Like to where like I felt like God had like touched my heart and said like, hey, like I'm here, I'm legit. And since that day forth, I started pursuing Jesus. I pursued the Bible, the Word. Didn't know how to at first, but just you know um, just tried my best as I grew up. And the one thing that Jeremy told me was like, "Hey man, like God's gonna use like you're great at wrestling, dude. You're a smart kid. Like God is gonna use those things in your life. He's gonna use those things to glorify Himself. He's gonna use those things and take you places with uh, with those aspects of you." And like sitting here now, just thinking about it, like it's. I mean, all the glory to God, and like I say this in a humble way, but it's been true because I've I've gratefully enough been able to find some success. I found success in high school, and I found I found some success in high school, and academically and athletically to where I am at I'm at one of the like the hardest schools to get into, one of the smartest schools. I mean, I'm competing for a D1 or on a D1 wrestling team, and it's like wow, like I
Mm-hmm.
think back to like that moment, like that's beautiful and amazing. Like it's come true, and we're still going too, and I
Yeah.
give Him all the glory for that, and just not only in my life, but He's affected like my parents' life, His own life. I mean, he's out of he's out of prison. He's been out of prison for a while. I think out of my sophomore or junior year, he got out off of good behavior and parole, and he's officially a free man today. And he's
Wow.
yeah, no, it's beautiful. He was supposed to get life, and then he got um, uh, we were able to get a lawyer that got him 28, I think, and he's a free man today, walking, and he has a wife and two stepchildren. He has his own child now with her, and it's beautiful. I mean, just to see that transformation, it's a real example of like, a thief on the cross, where like people look at that and like, he's a thief on the cross, like he's far gone, he's gonna die, he should die, and like, Jesus still, he tells Jesus like, remember me, and Jesus says, today you will be in paradise, and it's like you're never too far gone, and Jeremy is a prime example of that, and it's just so amazing to see that, and it's also been a huge example of my life. I've had a lot of different trials and tribulations, in athletics and academics, just in social life, like, with family stuff. And it's like every time, like, it seems bad, or it seems like things are just not going the way, or like just stuff like that, like an explosion, like God's just showed me that like it's for a reason, and it's happened for a reason. And, you know, that's where I've seen like I can trust God's plan, because of all these different things. Like, that's being a huge one. But all these different things that have happened in my life, that at the moment I was like, this sucks. Like, what is going on? Like, to where now I sit here today and I'm like, wow, like, thank you, God, for that happening, because like I wouldn't be here today without it. I wouldn't have the mindset that I do, or like I wouldn't have the blessings that I do, or I wouldn't have been able to, like, bless somebody else through it. And so that's how that's affected my life, and it's definitely affected my wrestling. And I feel like, with all these blessings that I've received, like that's my main goal. My first goal is just to, glorify Him, in or with each of those blessings, and like with as much as I can in every aspect, every part of my body.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. That's a great story. I'm so happy and proud of your brother, for not only talking about it, but being about it. Um, and wow. So where's he at nowadays, if you don't mind me asking? Is he in Iowa?
Yeah, he's in Iowa right now. He lives in Iowa City. He and his wife live
Cool.
together. They're just doing their thing, really. I see him whenever I go back home. I'll talk.
Yeah.
He'll text me here and there. Um, and yeah, I'm so happy and proud of him, because I mean he's came a long way, and like, I mean it's not easy. It's not easy to. I mean, I've never experienced anything that he has, but I'm sure it's not easy to, overcome drug addiction, drug abuse, overcome something that gets put on your record and that says, hey, you did this thing, and not even you did this thing, you did this really bad thing. And I
Mhm.
mean, he's lost. He was at. I mean, I don't know. I don't see any. I don't. I can't put together a more rock bottom than where he was at, and to
Right.
see him where he's at to now, where he's at today, is just. I mean, I take it for granted too much, but my heart is so full. Like, as I don't think about it enough, and I'm thinking about it, like right now, like my heart is so full just being able to know that, like, that happened. And it's crazy enough, like no one wants to say like, oh, I hope my brother like goes to prison, does all these bad things, like without that
Mhm.
happening, which is the prime example, like everything happens for a reason, like God's will is perfect, because without that happening, I don't think I get past, I don't know if I get past high school, let alone I just like with like the way that my family's like past history is, and like different things that have gone on, like I don't know if I even get out of high school. Like that's how much like Jesus has affected my life, of like, just giving this, and his love. And
Mhm.
yeah, man, it's you can't make it up. And like
Right.
that's where like I have so much joy in my life. I have so much like happiness with that, and like being in faith, that like it's like I want everyone to feel that, man. Like I want everyone to feel that happiness. I want everyone to feel that joy, and that I can humbly and like, proudly in Jesus' name feel.
Wow. How did you stay the course? You're in fifth grade when all this is going on. And of course it's, he says something to you and, you're jacked up and in the moment, you're like, all right, let's do this. But like, you're still in fifth grade where emotions are running high and up and down. And you got puberty coming and there's just so much that can derail you, man.
Yeah, no one's perfect, and I am not perfect at all. But I just started trying hard. I mean, I of course made many mistakes along the way, and I still make
Right.
mistakes today, and I'm sure I'll make more mistakes in the future. But I just like I every Sunday, like I go to church with my mom and uh and dad, and I just try my absolute best to just pay attention, like, eyes wide, like what the heck does this stuff mean? And it is so hard to understand just because, like, it's just so hard to understand, I guess. Um, but I would just try so hard to understand what was being said, on my, like, whenever I could, I'd be reading the Bible. I didn't know how to read the Bible, so I just started at Genesis, and it's cool. Like, if you start at Genesis, it's really good. It goes really good until you get to like the part, or like, I think it's in Exodus where like all like the brother of the sister of the tribe of the this of, and it's like you don't know what's going on. And then I was able to. I mean, thankfully, my church was able to have like a youth group that I'd go to and just learn about Jesus, and I don't know. I just tried to be a sponge in all those areas.
Mhm.
Just be like, what does all this mean? And whatnot. And I've matured so much since then. Like in high school, I would try to read the Bible every day. In wrestling, just not praying to win or anything like that, but just praying that I just glorify Him, praying that I'm healthy, praying that I can bring others to see the joy that I have. And then in college, I'm trying the same thing. I mean, in college there are lots of temptations. There are lots of just evil that lurk around, and just so
Mhm.
trying to stay away from that, and like just keeping God's armor on me um, when I walk the different like shadows of evil um, uh, that are like around me, and just keeping that same goal, prioritizing that same goal of like, hey, like I could, if I really want to, I could do all these things that other people are doing, or like fall into these like these holes, these pits, ruin my life potentially. But it's like it's not worth it, man. Like it's not worth not, I don't know how to say it.
Mhm.
It's not worth the death that comes with it, because though I
Right.
may get like cast out by like my friends, um, or people I love, or people I think that love me, like maybe I'll get like a cold shoulder, but it's just, as hard as it is and as much as it sucks sometimes, just like it's so worth it in the end. It's so worth it at the end of the day when that like, or when I know that like I'm living for Jesus, and that's what I want to do. And I want no I want everyone to join me too. That's my thing. And so I guess like how do I stay on that prerogative is just like just trust in Jesus, man. I mean, that's all. It's like knowing that like this is happening for a reason, and I'm here for a reason. God, what are you gonna do with me? Just like having that prayer, Lord, asking the Holy Spirit to fill my heart with like, Lord, give me wisdom and discernment on like how I walk today, like where I go, um, on what I do, like what am I gonna major in? What am I gonna, what weight was I gonna wrestle? Like what, like all these things that are just like for me like kind of big decisions, and it's like just letting Jesus lead the way, and just trying my best to stay on his path, and abide by his will.
Yeah. Where does wrestling kind of, or where did wrestling kind of come in all this?
um it's always been there. I'd say it's always been there. Maybe, I don't know, it's definitely always been there, but I'd say in high school, just I would say in high school
Hmm.
is where I learned to, oh my bad, I'd say in high school is where I learned to just be um like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I just always feel like it's always been a thing. I mean, I always feel the closest to
Hmm.
God, like in wrestling settings, because it's such an individual sport that like you can't. I don't know. I can't not feel close to him. He's like, it's like, I always feel like I'm just with God when I'm wrestling, or like
Hmm.
I'm lifting weights, or just like in that kind of mindset. And so it's kind of always been with me, but especially in college, how does wrestling come in? Just like being able to like not try to win, not have a goal of winning a national title for like any sort of fame, or to have my like name on the wall, or like name in the book, something like that. But instead, I feel like I've come to want to achieve these goals for just to be given a spotlight, and an opportunity to glorify him, and just like praise his name, and say like hey, like, where do you find your success? And like I find my success in Jesus. And I'm not saying that like Jesus is like Jesus gave me the win or something like that, but like you know Jesus has given me this faith. Jesus has put me here, like at for my case specific, at Stanford University, with the people around me. He's blessed me with with everything's happened in my life. Heck, he's blessed me with an incarcerated brother to be able to share with me the faith that has been with me and led me to a place like here. And it's like, because of him, I have all that I have, and I am who I am. And there's nothing that Hunter Garvin did. There's nothing that I can take credit for. Like, I give all the credit to him, and um, that's where I found myself to incorporate faith or wrestling with my faith. Is that, I have, Sean Gray told me this last year at Pac-12 after I lost. Like, hey man, like, you have this God-given ability. Don't let it go to waste. Don't disregard, don't disrespect yourself, and don't disrespect God by taking this by just throwing it away. He's given you this God-given talent, this God-given ability of wrestling, of being as good as you are, of being as unorthodox as you are, X, Y, and Z. And it's like lean into it, man. Like, don't throw it away. And that's since that day, it's kind of been like, okay, like, yeah, like, you're right, like, like, I've been given this thing, like, I'm not gonna let it go to waste. Like, I want to put my heart and soul out on the mat every time I go out there, and I want to compete, not just to win, but to win for him, in hopes that um I get a spotlight, and I get a platform to share the gospel, for that to be my way of evangelism, of like, for hope that some little kid who I was one time, when watching like interviews or watching people wrestle, can see and be like, wow, like, you know why is this guy so happy? Why is this guy so joyful? Why is this guy like preaching this thing? Who is Jesus? What is Jesus? And like, that's the little seed that grows. And some that's the little seed being planted right there.
I never like, is it crazy or not crazy? But when you say God blessed me with an incarcerated brother, I mean, that is
Yeah, that is a crazy statement to some, I bet. And
right.
like,
Yeah.
because who wants to be like, who's like praying like, oh Lord, please give me please give me some bad things to happen in my life, because I'm sure there'll be some
Correct.
good of it. But and it's so much easier in hindsight to see, because like I said, like,
Yeah.
everything happens for a great time, like, everything happens for according to his will, and everything is perfect. Um, at the time, man, that sucked. My dad told me the news of, hey, your brother's in jail. I broke down in tears, man. It broke my heart. It broke my family's heart. It was emotionally, um, and especially financially taxing for my family. But you know, we came out on top. Like, it's like we come out on top, and that's like right there. That's like the game of the devil, saying like, hey, sucks to suck. Your kid's in jail, and it's like, that's where like Jesus is able to turn it right. Like, God is able to turn it right against them and be like, hey, no, like, this is where I'm about to like I'm about to like
Mhm.
instill blessings on this family. I'm about to give this family a testimony. And then this testimony is about to affect so many lives. I mean, it's gonna give Hunter Garvin, who this is a blessing for, an opportunity to speak at Chowchilla High. And who knows how many lives that could have touched right there. That could have been the first time someone heard the word Jesus.
Mhm.
And that's a seed planted. And it's like, so, and it can be a crazy statement, but like, it is a blessing. As much as it doesn't seem at the point of impact, it is in
Mhm.
100% a blessing.
Yeah. When did you start to view it as a blessing? Because I'm sure you were probably mad for so long. You just said you were broken down in tears. I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah.
I
No,
don't mean to focus on this for so long, but
no,
it's
you're
just
good.
such a
I'm so happy to
fascinating.
talk about this. I
Yeah.
love talking about this, man. I can talk about this all day. I'd say, I don't know, honestly, college.
Really?
I'd say once I got to college, I started seeing it as a blessing, just because like I was embarrassed of it. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I was embarrassed of having, my own flesh and blood, having done the acts that he did. And, just who wants to proudly say, hey, I have a brother in prison, or hey, like, you know, all these, X, Y, and Z.
Hmm.
I'm sure my parents felt the same way of like, hey, no one wants to say their son's in jail. Um, But, you know, in college, I was able to like grasp it, like, hey, like, especially like kind of getting deeper into my faith coming to college, I was able to be like, hey, like, this is a blessing, man. And like having great, like, great people here, like FCA, and great teammates who share the faith with me. And like, you know, I've gotten really close within that, helped me to realize and like just be able to say, like, see how much of a blessing it is. And I think the biggest thing that shows me it's a blessing is that like how many lives it impacted. Like I didn't realize, honestly, it was a day like today when I was in Chowchilla, who's like a very, there's a lot of poverty in that town. There's a lot of like, you know, there's a lot of hurt people in that town. And
Yeah.
you know, my testimony is full of that. I mean, when you look at it, when you like pick it apart, it's like it's full of drug abuse, drug addiction. It's full of you know, heartbreak. Goes through like all sorts of things that like, you know, a lot of people go through, and a lot of people are like, you know, don't like to talk about or scared to talk about or like, you know, experience, but like keep quiet about it, or like try to bottle it up. And it's like I'm so honored to have the testimony that I do, because I can share it with people like that who, you know, they can see that like, oh my God, you know, oh my goodness, like God saves, and like God saved his brother who went through all these things. God saved him who knows, like if like I don't if what happened on that fifth grade day didn't happen, who knows where I am. Um, and it's like so amazing to like, you know, their lives can be saved and their lives can be blessed through it.
Did you see yourself in some of those kids that you were talking to?
Yeah, I did. Taco Tuesday. I did. I absolutely did, because um yeah, I did, because, you know, I was once in that high school, though I never had an opportunity really to like, I never went to an FCA rally as in high school.
Yeah.
I didn't like going to FCA uh at my high school, because I felt like the people who led it just didn't live what they didn't practice what they preach, and that would really rub me the wrong way. Um,
Ooh.
but I saw myself a lot in that high school, because I mean, um, you know, I was once that high schooler. I was once that kid, you know, who maybe didn't know what was going on with their life. You know, all I knew was wrestling. Um, but if I didn't see myself, I at least saw someone that I was really really familiar with, or somebody who I knew,
Mhm.
just based off of
Yeah.
like what happened to my brother, or just based off like my family in general. Like I saw a lot of that, a lot of fear, a lot of like wondering, a lot of like, you know, people who had no idea. I don't know. To me, I saw a lot of people who were like maybe listening a little extra carefully, because they're like this is crazy. Like why would you talk about such a thing, or whatnot? And you know, that's at the end of the talk. I've never done this before, but like I got reminded of it today. At the end of the talk, uh, um, I asked everyone to put their heads down and close their eyes, and I just said like, okay, so you all have your own privacy right now. Like if you hear this, um, and you're like you want that relationship with Jesus, you want, you know, you want forgiveness, you want a savior, you want, you know, that love or whatever, like just put your thumb up. And it was remarkable, man. Like the amount of like people that put their thumbs up was insane. I didn't even know that many people were listening to me, honestly. And the amount of people that put their thumbs up was like, holy smokes. Like it was it was so beautiful, and I just, you know, prayed over them. And I just like, I hope that, you know, these people, I mean that those are seeds planted right there. Those are seeds planted right there. And it's like, it blows me away. I mean, holy smokes. I mean, I just still can't get over it. And I just don't want to take it for granted. But like, oh my goodness, like, you know, I had someone come to me, like she told me like, hey, like, you know, blah blah blah, like my friend, like I've been urging her to like come to church, and she's never gone. And she picked up a Bible like today, because they were handing out Bibles there too. She like picked up the Bible and told me like, you better take me to church. And I was like, dude, like that's one example of like the many that I didn't know about. But like, oh my goodness, like that's what it's all about to me. I mean, I was talking to someone on the way on the drive back, and it's like he told me, um, like there's no wrestling match that you can win. There's no title that you can win. There's nothing that you can do that makes you feel better than like leading people to Jesus, or introducing them to, the way, the truth, the life, the thing that created them, the thing that not only created them, but died a humiliating death for them and loves them so much that they're willing to not only accept them where they are right now, but like the prodigal son, run and meet them halfway and with open arms and excitement and joy that they're wanting that.
Does that take the pressure off of competing a little bit, knowing that, you're wrestling for a higher purpose other than whatever the outcome's going to be,
Yeah, 100%. I've still struggled in the past with like nerves and anxieties, which really annoy me. But it does.
Yeah.
I'm wrestling for a higher purpose, man. I'm not there to win a match. I'm not there to try to just collect a gold medal or anything like that. I'm there to just wrestle for Jesus and like wrestle for Him, wrestle and love in Him and for Him, and it gives me so much freedom, and it makes wrestling so much more fun because like you know though like winning's awesome and losing sucks. Anyone will say that, but at the end of the day, like it doesn't matter like if you win one national title, four national titles, or you don't go a day like you can't you're never able to wrestle because you're injured. Like at the end of the day, man, none of that stuff matters. You can't take a penny to heaven. You can't take a national title. You can't take the little awards that they give you for being an All-American. You can't take any of that with you to heaven. And like that's the part that like that reminds me like, hey, what am I doing this for? And that's what makes the everything. That's what makes life like for me. That's what makes it. It's just knowing that I'm not doing it for anything but like I'm doing it for like for Jesus. I'm doing it for for another Sean Greco. And I'm doing it for like those who are watching. Like that little kid that little kid that used to be Hunter Garvin watching the NCAA tournament on the TV, or you know his senior year of high school when he went and watched the tournament. So inspirational. I was so inspired. I was so like, happy. I remember when I was a little kid, I like I was practicing at a Carver Hawkeye Arena, and I'd see a Hawkeye wrestler, and I was like, I would geek out whenever I go like watch a duel. I would geek out like, oh my goodness, like that's so and so, or that's so and so, or oh, and like now that I'm in that position, like I'm so like I don't know, like I want to do what I do because not for myself or for any sort of pride, but for like those around me, and just not only so that they see me and geek out, but they see me and be like, that guy loves Jesus, and like I want to love Jesus, like well, I want to know what he has, like what the heck, and so yeah, like it's made wrestling a lot more fun. It's made my perspective on like wrestling and sports in general and like the life I live in general just so much better.
Yeah. Great testimony there, I'm curious though, you just mentioned that when you were younger, you would see some Iowa guys, or they'd be in the Iowa singlets and you'd geek out. Was one of the guys you saw Nate Moore? Did you just geek out?
Oh, who wouldn't geek out? That guy was a beast. It's I actually so when I don't remember too much when I was a little kid, I just remember like you see the guy in the black and gold and you geek out. But uh, Nate Moore was a dog in high school. So my family was actually really close friends with
Yeah.
him. As my brother and him went to high school together. We were just family friends, and obviously he was my high school coach too. Um, and like he was a frickin' he was the best, like one of the best in the country. Him and that whole squad, as they're known as the West High Bad Boys, at the time. Uh, Not even kidding. It's all like a bunch of guys from Iowa City West went there and they got given the name the West Side Bad Boys. And yeah, I definitely remember just seeing that, um, seeing guys like him uh, out there and just like thinking like, holy smokes. But I never connected the dots. That I was too young to understand, but I never connected the dots. Like that guy is like I know that guy like a lot better than I think I do.
Did you wrestle him at all in practice, and did you ever like take him down?
Man, I tried. He beat the brakes off me.
No kidding.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. So like recently, no, I haven't.
Mhm.
But like when I was in high school, I would like every once in a while I'd be like, come on, you want to smoke? Like, let me get a shot at the title. And
Yes.
yeah, I'll be honest. He beat the brakes off me. And it was funny. We had this 97, 92, 182. What's after 182? I don't know. Some in those big guys. Um,
195?
yeah, 195. And this guy like he was such a freaking tank. His name was Landon Green. He was a all-American football player, and this guy was a beast. And um he has 6 1 year at state, I think. But he like it was so funny because Nate's his size, and Landon Green just was skying over him as freaking jacked. You would think he's on something, which he wasn't, but he was just so yoked.
Yeah.
And Nate went to go with him and just embarrassed him in front of all. Picked him up in like a fireman's, and it was so funny. It's like, okay, this guy still got it. This guy still got it. But yeah, it was those were good times, man.
Gosh, yeah. What was it like to wear that Trojan on your chest? After you watched, you were kind of like another crop that came in, like Iowa City West has always had these teams that just kind of, they don't rebuild, they reload essentially. So what was it
Yeah.
like to put on that Trojan on your chest, man?
It was an honor. Uh, After Mark Ryland had retired, I almost
Hmm.
went to a different school. Or I almost started looking around to go to different schools because everyone was questioning, the wrestling program. Like, Jeremy went to Iowa City West, and I was like, man, I gotta go here. I can't not go there. I mean, and so it was an honor, absolute honor, because I mean, like that's like kind of getting the torch passed to me, and just
Right.
keeping a family legacy going, kind of. And also just like with all the history that West High has with like wrestling, it was so cool to be a part of that. And I mean, one of my best friends, my bestest friends who I mean I was best friends with, like, were made at Trojan Wrestling Club when I was like 5, 6 years old, and then kind of that relationship was reignited um, there in high school. And it's like I'm like I can't leave it. I'm like I didn't find out until high school, but like once I was there, I'm like I'm so glad I never went anywhere else, and I'm so glad I'm here, so blessed. And I mean, it was so cool to be able to rep Iowa City West on my
Yeah.
chest. It's like that title.
Yeah. So it sounds like you started wrestling when you were real young, 5.
Oh yeah, my dad had me in there like 5, something like that.
Yeah. Why is
Yeah.
that? Were you just a family of wrestlers or what?
No idea. I mean, I have no idea. My dad just like decided to put me in there, and I just saw that there's other little kids like me. We play a foxtail, where you put your shirt and your shorts, and you run around, and then we just screw around during wrestling practice. But then you see these people every time, and they just kind of become your friends. And these are my best pals. And it went from like as we got older and matured, it went from messing around together, like, oh, like, okay, wrestling. And the next thing you know, it's like my sophomore year of high school, me, Graham Gambrell, and Will Hoft are all in the finals together at the state tournament. We go 3 for 3, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, where did the time go? Because I have pictures at my house of me and Graham Gambrell. Like, I remember I gave him such a bloody nose because my pinky just went right up his nostril, and there's like pictures of that, and just us being little like dinky babies. And then right next, I can just see a picture of us in 2020, like uh, wearing the state medal and the state hat, and it's just like super cool full circle moments.
Yeah. Did you have some high expectations? And I guess let me ask you this first. Did you have some success on that AAU circuit before you got into high school?
No, I didn't get.
Really?
I couldn't get past fifth place, um, fifth or sixth place until like sixth grade, and then sixth grade I won my first like AAU state title, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then 8th grade, I won it again, and that's kind of when the gas started pumping. Like I I won AAU state that year. I think that was the first time I ever won folk style nationals. Um, and then, but then like it kind of went backwards because I went to like this thing called Heartland Duels right after and just got my butt kicked. I was so embarrassed that like I'm like, oh, like I got my butt kicked. I'm supposed to be like good now or something. But then just going into high school, that's kind of when that's kind of when it all started kind of going my way a little, or like I started having like better results.
Yeah, you ended up in the finals. Were you like surprised, or I mean, what were your goals that year?
I mean, everyone wants to be a 4-time state champ, especially like
Yep.
you got a guy like Nate Moore with his brother Nick Moore, who was a 4-time state champ.
Right.
And it's like, heck yeah. And then you do, like, I remember I was having a pretty decent season. I'm trying to think how my freshman season went. Yeah, I had a really good freshman season, I think. And then I make it the finals. And oh my gosh, I was crapping my pants because I was trying to be cool, just one match, just a match, nothing more than a match. And I went out there and I choked so bad. Um, I mean, respect to him, he got me, but like it was a kid. Like to me, I was like, this is a kid I've beaten already. You know, this kid wasn't supposed to make the finals, but here we are. And then womp womp, I got beat, and
Mhm.
but I mean, I'm grateful for that match. I'm grateful that I got beat. Um, and I just remember Nate Moore being with me there. I was so like upset. I didn't know what to think. I just felt like such a loser. But he had lost his freshman year too in high school, and I'm sure he was able to. I don't remember exactly, but I just know he helped me in that moment. And like I just remember like being so like upset, and I was really motivated by that. Or I was really glad it happened because like I just remember like just saying never again. Like I never want to feel this way again. And then, you know, you flash forward and hey, I didn't lose in the finals again in high school.
Yeah. And out of all the people to have to talk to you after that, Nate Moore would be a really good one. I mean, I don't want to speak for him, but yeah, when he lost his freshman year, I'm sure that was devastating. I think he got beat by a ball wag from Waverly. But then
Yeah,
the next year he got beat again, and people were
yeah,
like losing their minds.
yeah. Because he was lost in the last second, I think, his sophomore year, and it was just like, oh my gosh. And I remember just like, because him and like Dylan Carew, I think were on the same team, and like
Yep.
Dylan and I are really close. And I remember like I've asked him stories about it, and he just is always says like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
remember happened, and like, oh, it's just like, holy smokes. But
Hmm.
then Nate went on the next 2 years to win it with dominant fashion.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yes. Yes. So, but then I know it's again, we kind of said this earlier, like things are easier said than done. So, what did you do the next year if you remember to like push yourself to get to the top, you
I
know?
remember like right away, like Dylan's a crazy guy. Like, and I love that guy to death. But he really helped me a lot. Him and Nate kind of just because I kind of transferred or transitioned from um high school to club wrestling,
Hmm.
a big game, and it was just like hey like no more of that. Like we're not gonna have that again. Like you got in your head, blah blah blah. Like that's like you had loser thoughts, man. And I did, and it's like we're not like not yeah really never again. And I started working with him with Dylan like hardcore, just kind of getting as much as I could, uh, getting as much as I could out of practices and like you know he and Dylan and I got a lot closer, and just I would say he knew my goals and he held me accountable to him. He's like, hey, like anyone can say they want to be this, they want to be that, but it's like, what are you gonna do for it? And I'm just like, like you're right, like all right. And so I mean, we went on, and actually I went on to win like to folk style nationals that year. Uh, and this one was still a good tournament, so like it was still a legit tournament at this time.
Hmm.
And had a decent had a decent off like Greco season. I think I got like 8th in Greco, which was it was crazy thing. I've never placed in at Fargo in freestyle, which is funny.
Mhm.
Um, um, and it's I've only played twice in Greco too, which is hilarious. But yeah, and just going forward doing that, and then just keeping on it. I mean, thank God I was able to remain healthy all the way through, but just having a really good balance of like relationships, of social life, of of wrestling, academics, family, and just I had an amazing, like this is like these are blessings. Like I had an amazing coaching staff at West, and I had an amazing um, coaching staff at Big Game with Dylan,
Mhm.
Ty, Jesse Whitmer, Zach Covington, all these guys who were in my corner, and just not just in like my wrestling corner, but in my life corner. I mean, you can ask Dylan. I've spent so much time at Big Game, and like honestly, like most of it has just been like hanging out there. Like, we would. It was funny because we made wrestling not just a sport, but like just a thing we love to do. That's when I kind of found love for it because like the people who I was doing it with. I mean, I remember I had like the same partner, or I would just go with the same guy who was my best friend, like every day, and he and I would make each other better, and um, like we would play Mario Kart at we called it the shop because it was like half of it was like a landscaping company or is a landscaping company that Dylan's dad owns, and half of it's Big Game Wrestling Club, and but we'd bring like we'd bring my Wii to the shop, and we'd play it, and it was so funny. It'd be like 4 of us playing, and Dylan would be one of them too. It would be me, like Kale Scranton, Grant Odell. Kale Scranton's at Coe College right now. Grant Odell's at Bellarmine University. We're all in the same class, and we were all like good buddies, and we would play Mario Kart, and we do like the version where you play 36 races, which I think is every track, and we'd be there for 2 hours, and Dylan would join us. Like he's like, "All right, what are you guys up to?" And like, he joined in on with us, and it's like those are some of the best memories that I remember of just like you know like life and wrestling, and like
Mhm.
that's what wrestling was to me. It wasn't just a sport. Like it was like that's the most that's it was happiness, it was joy, and like but then like we locked in when it was time to lock in. Like we would be up in the room doing what we needed to do, getting the cardio in, getting the wrestling in, but like Dylan did a really great job of like making it fun, of like ensuring that like this stuff was fun. He'd take us he's I've gone hunting with him multiple times, um and just I built such a strong relationship with him and like everyone at Big Game, to where like I mean I don't even know how to explain it. I probably went on a
Mhm.
little tangent there, so my bad. But like that's what made it. That's what made it. Uh, to go back to your original, that's like what it was to like how do you go from here after this like this crappy loss or like whatever. Like we just made wrestling fun, and we made wrestling. Um, like we tried.
Mhm.
We just did it. I guess we just did it.
Yeah. Who was the better Mario Kart player?
Sadly, Kale always beat me. And like it would go him, me, and then Grant would be in the third place every time. And he would get me, man. And Dylan could never really do anything. I think he won one race. I remember the first time he won a race, he went nuts, and he was like, "You guys suck at this game, like forever the champ." I think he actually might have walked out too. He like might have just like did be
Of
like
course.
I'm going down a hero. That's what I'm about. And but yeah, and so Kale would get me there, but we would play Smash too, Super Smash Bros. And he and I would
Mhm.
go. It'd be like 60-50 on going like, or 60, like 50 or 55-45, and like who would win, and he'd usually be
Mhm.
55. But then well, so we get each other that. But yeah, those are good times.
It's you're surrounded by so many Iowa guys. Carew, both the Moores. I mean, you live in Iowa City. That what was it like when you came back this year and wrestled in Carver as
It was
the quote unquote enemy?
I know. I was super excited for the opportunity. I was like, holy smokes, this is sick. I totally just threw it down the drain though. It stunk so bad. Um, but it was so cool. I mean, I expected, I'm like, all right, they're either going to be super loving or super hostile to me, like me in specific. And dude, the first guy I saw was like, welcome back, Hunter. I'm like, no way. And I got so much love, you know, when they introduced me, I got like a lot of like cheering, and I was like, holy smokes, like I got love here. And that was super cool. Knowing like the hostile crowd that lives there. And then, yeah, that's as far as I go. It sucked that I lost,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
um, it was cool to be there.
Yeah, and what a cool opportunity also to come back and wrestle, where you grew up. I mean, I'm sure you had lots of friends and family there. Like they normally don't get to see you because you're wrestling out west, or, you're not wrestling in Iowa. So that
Yeah,
just had to be a cool moment for them to even just watch you compete, minus the result. But
yeah, no, absolutely. It was so cool. I mean, that's the first time my brother, my brother and his family, um, ever like got to watch me wrestle a college match in person. And it was
wow,
so
yeah.
yeah, it was a really special time. And like a bunch of my friends, I mean, Nate brought a good amount of the West high schoolers, wrestlers, and it was cool because like, you know, I mean, imagine them like they were wrestling, like I was on the same team with them not too long ago, and like now like I'm quote unquote on like the big in the big in the big stage in the big leagues. And it was, I bet that was cool for them, and like it was cool for me, like to be able to like share that moment with them.
Yeah, you are in the big leagues. Um, Lastly, before I let you go, I wanted to ask you about your career so far at Stanford. Your redshirt year, I mean, 10-7, I think. I mean, it wasn't a real run of the mill. Like it wasn't you didn't explode onto the scene like you weren't like 30-0.
Yeah.
Um, so when you went into your freshman year, your redshirt freshman year, what were you thinking? I mean, were you up? Were you down? Confidence wise? I mean, you even said it's tough in college. So I'm just trying to
I don't know.
gauge where you were at, man.
I honestly don't know where I was because like I didn't get to wrestle until CKLV, which is my first competition, and then so I honestly had no idea what to do. I'm like, I can't tell if I like, I don't know what's gonna happen. And I just like,
Yeah.
that's like where kind of like I really started getting it, or like I had a lot of like faith in my like with wrestling, like all right, God, like let's do it, like no expectations. And then I didn't do half bad there for being like my first like real competition in college. I think I got
Mhm.
sixth. And uh, just kind of going from there. Just I didn't really wrestle the absolute best, and then it honestly took all year to start wrestling. Okay, I mean, yeah, I didn't even do like the best at Pac-12. I just kind of like my goal is just like my goal that season was just to make the national tournament because like I know my dad my parents wanted to go really bad, and my mom hadn't even
Mhm.
seen me wrestle yet. Um, and so my goal was just to make the national tournament, like give my parents a reason to go to Kansas City, because it was 4 hours away from us, and
Yeah,
also like we get gear packages if you do it, so like you want that too. Um,
of course,
but
of course.
but that was my goal, and I was like, okay, and like I made the finals of Pac-12s, and or no, first I was ranked really low, like I was like 24, and after being like 16 earlier, like at the beginning of the year, and I was like, oh my gosh, like what am I doing? And I'm like,
Mhm.
we had two allocations, and I made the finals, and and I lost the finals match. I'm like, oh my gosh, but the the kid, the kid I beat in the semis had won, so I didn't have to wrestle for sure second, which
Mhm.
was good. Um, and so I was going to nationals for sure. And I was like sick, but I was really upset because I just had such a bad finals match, and I remember I yelled at my coach, kind of I'm like, isn't that awesome? Like isn't it great when you just choke and like you just can't feel good? And he grabbed me, took me to a um, outside of the arena. He was like, how do you feel? I'm like, I felt awful. Like, I feel like I can't wrestle. Like, I feel like it's like I'm not enjoying the sport. And he's like, why? Like, are you putting pressure? Like, yeah, I'm putting pressure myself. And it was Sean Gray, and he said, like you don't deserve, like you shouldn't, because you don't deserve the right to put pressure on yourself. And he's like, It's like you're not a national title, you're not a national champion, you're not an All-American, you're like you're not even highly ranked right now. Like, why are you putting pressure on yourself, man? And like, it was the best criticism, what was it, constructive criticism I could have received in that moment
Right.
too.
Oof.
In that moment, because like I was like, yeah, like you're right. Like I wasn't upset at all of what he was saying. And he's like, that's when he told me, he's like, man, you have God given abilities, and you're throwing, like, don't throw them away, man. Like you're 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 putting pressure on yourself and you're not having fun, dude. Have fun, man. Let free, do cool stuff, and just like, what are you doing? And I'm like, wow. And like, it was at that moment I realized that, like, I'd had a pretty like tough season with like different trials and tribulations physically and like mentally. Um, and I was like, man, I put my trust in my trainer. I put my trust in teammates. I've given in. I'm giving in to all these things, but haven't yet given in to these coaches. And I went to his office like the next day, or a couple days later. I said like, hey, coaches, like what's up? Like, like, and I told him that like I've pressed into everyone except you guys. And I told him, and it's like, you know what, like I'm gonna press into you guys. Like you guys say jump, I'll say how high. And like, I remember I was ranked 20th going to the national tournament or something like that. 20th, I think 20th, going to the national tournament, and um, I just wrestled so free. I listened to my coaches. I trusted them. I trusted God, as in like He's given me these guys for a reason. Like, why not let the coach and let me, the athlete, be the athlete? And I I mean, I never felt so good. I haven't felt that good wrestling in forever. Like at that time, I was like, wow. Like, I beat a guy who beat me twice that year. I got a major, um, and I just felt like something was different in me. And I lost the next match, and I didn't know how many matches I had to go, and I didn't know, like, I wasn't thinking a blood round or anything. I was just thinking one match at a time, one match at a time. And so I won one match. I won one match. I won another match, and then boom, you're in the blood round. And I won the blood round match, and just it was that, I don't know. I won the blood round match. I was like, holy smokes! Like, that was one of the most exciting moments of my wrestling career, especially like I shared it with a Sean Gray and Chris Ayers in the corner there, going nuts. But that's kind of the question was like, where did my wrestling start taking? Or what was the question again? I kind of like.
No, really, we were just talking about how your redshirt freshman year, you went,
Oh yeah,
you had
yeah, how
a
it
10-7 year, and all of a sudden you're an All-American. I mean,
yeah,
that
yeah,
was
that stemmed from there. Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I was going with. So that stemmed from just like me trying to do things on my own throughout the whole season, and then finally I trusted in the coaches, and I told them, I basically God's put these guys in my life, like, why not let them do what they are here to do? And so pressing into my coaches was like the game changer for me. And since that moment, I feel like my wrestling has changed even from then until today.
yeah. You just mentioned Chris Ayers, real quick. Rob Cole left after your freshman year. What made you stay put?
Faith, man.
Yeah,
I was, uh, I was thinking a lot about like leaving.
for
Um,
sure.
I didn't know what the heck to do. Like, I didn't know what I was supposed to do. It's my first year. The coaches that like, just recruited me dipped, and I was like, what the heck? And
Hmm.
um, I didn't know what to do. And I was this. I had mentors. I went to my like these my pastor of the church I was going to, and I just talked to him about it. Like, man, like I don't know what to do, man. And he's like, well, like, he encouraged me to pray on it, and like he told me to go write down things, like write down pros and cons of staying and leaving. And you know, there's a lot of things here, like the academics are amazing, and we still had a really great team. And actually, no one ended up leaving after
Wow,
Rock Hole and company left. And
that's
I was like,
amazing.
I found that there's a lot more pros of staying than there was leaving, and I'm so glad I did, because I don't know
Yeah.
if I would have, I'd be, I don't know if I'd be where I'm at today if I didn't stay here, and the relationships I've created, the the personal growth that I've had here as a Stanford Cardinal is unlike no other. And just like on top of that, just the growth in my faith being here on this campus, with the church I go to, the pastors I have, and the people around me. I mean, I don't think you can find that anywhere else. And at least I couldn't. I don't know. I don't know. I love it, and I'm really glad I'm here.
Yeah, the Ayers family is so special. I actually had Lori on once a while back, probably a couple of years ago, and she is outstanding. So, out of all the people they brought in, Chris Ayers, one of probably one of the best.
No,
So.
Lori, and like talking about Lori, she is the best. She has done so much for this program and is still doing so much, and it's awesome.
Yeah. Last question here for you. So as you mentioned, you've been around Nick Moore, Nate Moore, and Dylan Carew, among others, of course. But out of those three, who would you say is probably the most difficult to take down? If you've taken any of them down. I mean,
I've never got to wrestle with Nick before, and I hope he sees this, but easiest to take down is Dylan Carew. Las Vegas. I don't know, the U.S. Open in Las Vegas. Shoot, I don't remember what year it was, but I think it was in like 8th grade maybe. I think it was in 8th grade. Laid him out right in the middle of the aisle, in like the back where they have like the 28 mats or whatever, and he'll forever remember that. He'll little tripped him up, got him, and laid him out right there and just walked away. And so I have to give between Dylan and Nate. I guess Nate's the harder one to take down.
wow, and you were in 8th grade when you did that?
Heck yeah, I was in 8th grade or something like that. I don't know. I was, or maybe freshman year. I don't know. I was young though, and so Dylan will forever have that engraved in his head that I got that takedown.
Mm-hmm.
And another fun fact is that I'm the first guy to ever give him a bloody nose.
Really?
Yeah, and it was during like we were doing like a little boxing workout, so like it wasn't like my elbow caught him. Like I gave him one. I gave him a good one right to the kisser, and boom, blood started flowing. And so I hope he sees this so much.
What were you guys doing boxing? Now I'm curious, like
He just like we were just doing a boxing workout like during this camp. We had a bunch of kids. This was my 8th or freshman year, 8th grade or freshman year, and we were just learning like fundamentals of like that movement of like jabbing and punching and like like it coordinates with wrestling a lot. I mean, it's just like if you watch a boxing match, if you watch UFC, like all that stuff's aware. Like there's a lot of awareness in that, and boxing is a lot of awareness too. And I feel like I haven't done a lot of it, but that stuff, like that awareness and like movement, hand-eye coordination, has been super good for me, and like something that like big game is super special with, of like having unorthodox training opportunities and unorthodox just things. But yeah, I remember it was during that I gave him his first bloody nose.
Wow. Now I have to talk to him to see, talk to him about some of this stuff.
You got it. You should talk to him. He's. Have you ever had him on a show before?
No.
You ought to talk to him, because like him and big game, he's taking big game to crazy places. I mean, and yeah, if you do get the opportunity, I know he's got a lot to say, and you gotta ask him, you gotta remind him about that story. Be like, hey, this has happened, right? And he can't say no. He has to say yes.
The biggest thing is you're in 8th grade or like a freshman in high school when this happened. I mean,
that's how it goes.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, gosh, you were wrestling what, 126 at that time, or 132?
120 my freshman year.
120, exactly. I mean, anyway, he probably still thought he was big man on campus, but I guess he got humbled. He got humbled quick.
Thanks again for listening to this episode of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. Special thanks to my guest, Hunter Garvin, for taking the time to sit down and chat with me. Cover art created and designed by Kristen Gill. Please feel free to rate, comment, and subscribe to this podcast. And you can also check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and my Facebook page to hear more of my content. And don't forget to check out my website at letstalkwrestlingpodcast.my.canva.site. And as always, be sure to tune in to hear the next guest of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. Take care. See you next time.